I think what we'll do now in the spirit of moving forth is let's move on to our next demo, which will be Tony, who's going to present from Bamboo Systems. So Tony, are you with us?
Good afternoon, good evening. My name is Tony Craythorne. I'm CEO of Bamboo Systems. We're actually headquartered in Cambridge, UK, although I'm based in the US. Let's just go on to exactly what it is we're doing. But we last year launched a server that is unlike any other out there right now, because it's based on ARM technologies. And I'll talk about the market in a second. But why are we doing this? The server market is dominated by Intel, obviously, and x86 architecture. And I heard people talking about being in the 90s. I actually started selling PCs in 1987. So I don't know if that makes me the oldest person on here. I hope not. But it's a huge space. It's an $80 billion market, as I say, dominated by x86. That architecture and that technology really hasn't changed. What has changed is the applications and the uses that people are using them for now. Machine learning and AI are obviously dominating everything. Everything used to be singular threaded workloads programmed in Java and C++. Now they're highly containerized in Go and Python, etc. Kubernetes is dominating everything. So what are people doing? They're throwing more and more compute at the problem. And we were talking about green tech earlier. Today, over 4% of the world's power is taken up by data centers. So and people are just throwing more and more compute at it. It's just becoming a bigger problem. So we think that there's a better way of doing it. Everybody talks about ARM and ARM in the data center. Our company was formed in 2015 and probably came out too early. The market wasn't ready for it. The ecosystem wasn't ready. But if you look at what has happened in the last 18 months, AWS moving to ARM, Apple have moved to ARM, NVIDIA have bought ARM, Microsoft and VMware are now developing for ARM. And then look at what Gartner believe in the hype cycle. They honestly believe as well that ARM is coming to the data center. It's definitely an opportunity to really disrupt what is an $80 billion market. And that's just the on-prem market. That doesn't include the hyperscalers and cloud. That's just the on-prem market. It's an $80 billion market that we're addressing. So this is our product. It's called the B1000. There's a couple of things unique about it and different that I'll talk about. We've gone for a pretty unique brand, as you can see. Yes, that is real bamboo on the front, and no, it doesn't catch fire. We get asked that a lot, believe it or not. But what makes us completely different is there are quite a few other ARM servers out there, and all everybody else has done is literally just stuck an ARM chip into an x86 motherboard, and you get some of the benefits of ARM on that with power and cooling, etc. But apart from that, you're not going to get a lot else. What we've done is completely different. We've re-architected the entire motherboard, the entire server, which is our IP, and where you see a 1U server in an Intel or any other ARM server, you'd get one server in that. That's it. Inside that 1U, there are 8 fully functional servers that can run Linux, Kubernetes, etc. And we'll come on to some of the use cases in a bit. And a little bit more extra secret sauce in there, the way that we separate out I/O processing from application processing. But the numbers that we've got on the right are very real numbers compared to x86 and other ARM servers. Because we get so much in such a small footprint, we save on average about 50% of the acquisition cost compared to our competition. We've only measured, and we've only been able to measure right now, 75% saving on energy consumption. What we believe is, as we scale up and we deploy racks and racks of bamboo servers, that we'll be able to save even more than that, because we can spin up and spin down based on the use and the workload. And then because we get so much compute in a very small footprint, we can save a huge amount of rack space, which again is key for just about every organization right now, be it in data center or edge. People want to get more and more out to the edge now. We can get a lot more compute. Each of those 8 servers can run independently, or we can cluster them together to really get very incredibly high throughput. I won't go into the speeds and feeds, but you can get a sense that we've got, you know, a fair amount of compute, a lot of memory. Because of the way our architecture works, we actually run at native NVMe speed, so we're running at 24 gig per second. So it is incredibly fast inside the system. And we continue to test various workloads as we ran up to launch. Here's a couple quickly. This is just us comparing ourselves to a 3 Xeon cluster and a couple of AWS M2, M4 large instances. And this isn't a 2-blade system. We ship our system with either 1 blade or 2 blades. We just tested it with 1 blade, so 4 servers. And you can see on a fairly straightforward Elasticsearch benchmark test that we're outperforming both Intel and AWS. And then everybody's talking about cloud. You know, I don't think many people are going 100% to cloud, especially not large organizations. But you know, hybrid cloud is absolutely a thing, and it's going to continue to grow. So we took our friends over at AWS their own total cost of ownership calculator and used that. They use this to bash on-prem. So we used it, did another comparison again between a typical Intel configuration, AWS and us, and again using their metrics, you can see that the total cost of ownership of running a Bamboo server comes in considerably less than both Intel and AWS. In terms of our use cases, we were talking about DevOps earlier. You know, everything is moving to containers and Kubernetes, etc. We've tested all of these applications. Basically, anything that will run on open source Linux will run on a Bamboo server. Some will need a little bit of recompiling, but we're targeting to make it as simple as possible. But again, with NVIDIA buying ARM and all the other push around ARM right now, and you know, AWS have made a huge investment on their Graviton 2 instance, which is based on ARM. The applications and the ecosystem is now definitely there for an ARM server to become more and more prevalent. So that's it. I flew through that pretty quickly. We are getting an incredible amount of attention in the press. We've had, I think, over 120 articles written about us. Won multiple awards. For a little tiny startup, we're 22 people right now. I've got a new sales team starting literally next week as we go to market. We've got an incredible book of business already. It really has been quite an incredible journey that we've been on. So with that, thank you for the opportunity. Any questions?
Fantastic, Tony. Thank you. Nice to meet you. We've met sort of briefly virtually. Right. You're sharing your chat again. Oh, there you go. That's it. Your beaming face. Hello. And it's been snowing in the UK and in Nevada. It's all over the place.
Whoever's in Seattle, we've got all the various weathers going on at the moment, because I know it's cold over there, and Seattle always rains anyway, and now we've got snow here, so it's crazy. Well,
Jennifer's been basking in sunshine this morning, so it's just who knows? Who knows what's going on? I've got a couple of questions here for you, Tony, if you could take those. Oh, here we go. Oh, Hamid said, can we get the slides? I'm sure we can get that organised. I'll leave that with Ian's in his capable hands. It's Ollie. Hi, Ollie. Ollie Beige, who's asking, how easy is it to use this platform for my existing applications? How painful is it to rebuild?
Again, if it depends on obviously the application, but I think now there are over 200,000 software products that run on ARM natively now, as long as it sits on Linux. So we run on CentOS, Ubuntu. I'm meeting with Red Hat this week, actually. They've actually reached out to us. So we're going to continue to test. We're going to continue to publish on the website. But you know, if it's something you want to try, get in touch with us, and we will help you through it. You know, we're still very early stage, and you know, we've got a fantastic team of engineers that will help any customer port over to it if work needs to be done. But all of those applications that I showed work natively, and there are hundreds and hundreds more. So you know, the ecosystem is growing every day.
Cool. Fantastic. So hopefully that answers your question, Ollie. I know it's a little bit difficult when you're just typing in. I'll move on to Julian Levy. Hi, Julian. Have you benchmarked against Graviton 2?
Not yet, but we're going to. We've got a little respin that we're doing on the blade right now, and then we're going to. Graviton 2, there's two different ways you can deploy an ARM chip. You can do one of the big, huge chips like on Ampere or something like that. We didn't do that. We clustered together smaller chips because they're much more efficient and much less power hungry. Because even some of the large chips right now are pretty power hungry. So that's why we've gone with our configuration of having still a lot of cores, but in smaller chip configurations that are clustered together. So we're going to do that, and well, if it comes out good, we'll put it on our website. If it doesn't, we're going to tune ourselves up even more. But yeah, we will be doing that, and we'll be testing that stuff. Graviton 2 looks remarkably similar to our architecture. AWS have done it right. I've got the patent on it. We got the patent late last year, but I don't think we're going to be going up against AWS on that one, unfortunately. So
Fantastic. We've got two more questions, so we'll try and get through those quickly. And I think Charles is going for comedian of the event here. But firstly, Scott Condren, who's your ideal customer and why?
We've been contacted by universities, by healthcare. We're working right now under incredibly strict NDA, so we can't talk about it, with one of the biggest names in IT, who are launching a Kubernetes rack that they want to deploy on every single customer site. We're talking tens of thousands, and we're in prime position to be the ARM server of choice for them. We're working with a company who make military systems military systems for aircraft, and they're not buying the system; they're just buying the blade. What else? General IT, general purpose server. Kubernetes is a huge one. We're getting contacted a lot because if you think about it, 8 servers in a 1U, you can deploy a lot of Kubernetes instances on that. So it's right the way across the board. Large corporation, small, medium organization, OEM, and it's right the way across the board. A little company called Google reached out to us last week, and we met with them last Friday as well.
No name dropping here at all from Tony.
Sorry.
No. No spoilers. Watch this next episode of Bamboo Systems. Thank you. Howard Somru, you think chips of Intel or AMD will be outdated against agile processors like ARM NM1 chips in servers?
I don't think, but the reason why we've launched a 1U, simple to buy, simple to sell, simple to install, simple to understand, is nobody's going to throw out their Intel. They're going to hug their Intel. It's everywhere, right? So nobody's going to throw it out. I think there's a place for both. There'll be a place for both. I do think, I don't know if anybody from Intel's listening in here, but I do think Intel have taken their eye off the ball, which is why ARM is really coming forward across multiple areas. If you think about it, ARM runs everything apart from data center. Everything you touch, from these, your iPads, etc., have got a low power chip that's based on ARM technology. So I personally think the two will become complementary, but ARM does give a lot more benefits in terms of power, cooling, etc., which is such a hot topic right now that it's going to take a slice, but it's going to take time. Our financial projections, we think ARM will take about 10% of the market in the next 5 years, and so that's what, 8 billion, and whoever owns the space, and we are currently being seen as the leader in the space, which is getting nuts because we're tiny. Whoever takes that will take a double-digit share, and it'll happen very, very quickly. Okay.
Great. Thank you, Tony, and thanks, Rose, for moderating the Q&A.
Thank you, Rose.
Very insightful presentation.